I guess he should have gone except that he's a Stegasaurus, so it's not like he would roar.
So she says.
Hi. Hello. I'm Cindy.
And we're faking sanity, as you can tell. Some days not so successfully.
Yeah, that's us.
We run a bookstore yarn shop in Dawson Creek, BC.
Canada.
Just
in case you don't know where BC is.
And we're closed right now, hence the dark books back there.
And yeah, our setup's a little different than usual because we forgot the podcast. We forgot the tripod, so it is on a bookshelf.
Leaned up on a bookshelf.
We're just sitting in front of it.
Yeah.
So
we're very cozy, sitting very close to a bookshelf.
Yeah, that's okay.
Anyway, that's us.
So shall we start with finished objects?
Sure.
This is my finished object. I actually have 4 finished objects today.
Yeah, you've been crocheting.
I've been doing little projects. Okay, so this guy, he is, well, we've called him Stanley, but he is Spike the Stegosaurus.
Stanley the Steggy.
Yeah. By Theresa's Crochet Shop.
And how cute that
God, it was such fun to crochet.
He had little T-Rex arms.
No, he had little steggy arms.
Well, okay, but they're little short, cute arms.
My mom was like, his nose is kind of big, and I was like, oh, don't ignore her. You didn't hear her say anything.
Such a dork.
Anyway, so this is Stanley, the Stegosaurus, and he is for Lou. So now you can have him. And I also did OOAK, the owl. The pattern is actually called Ollie and Opal, the owls, because there's 2 different ones, but we, I don't know why, but he got named OOAK. No! And he is going to our friend Jessie, who just started school at the Northern Alberta Institute of Technology, NATE, and their mascot is owls, so
she gets an owl.
I
get a dino just because I'm a dino freak.
Yeah.
And also as old as dinosaurs.
But yeah, they're both by Theresa's Crochet Shop. And oh my God, I highly recommend these patterns.
They're so cute.
They're very cute. They are really well written patterns. Most people will be like, sew on the wings. As indicated in picture. And no, she'll be like, it should be about, 3 stitches back from the eye, and it should be in this round. And I'm like, oh,
that's
fabulous.
Awesome.
It is amazing.
Often the placement changes totally how something looks. Because it's like, oh, it was a cute mouse, and now it's an alien.
Exactly. Oh my God. So I follow her on Instagram, and she had an Instagram post where it was actually with this guy. And she's like, amigurumi often doesn't turn out right the first time, and she put all the pieces of this into like a closet or into a cupboard and closed it and then opened it back up, and like the nose was over here and all the spikes are over here and the tail was like, it was hilarious. Anyway, yeah, so those are my cuties.
Like, she's bought a bunch of the patterns.
I bought the dinosaur
super
pack,
cute, all of them,
the 5-pack, but now there's a new dino. Now she has a Brontosaurus.
Apatosaurus.
No, he's a Brontosaurus. She's a Brontosaurus. I was thinking I would get her, and she'd be really tall, and then he could look up and be like, Stella! Yes, we're nerds. I told you that. We're nerds.
I told you he had to have his girlfriend be Stella.
Yeah. And what's really nerdy is that most people, he's like eyeing the camera. Most people would be like, oh, what is it? Cat on a Hot Tin Roof? That's Stanley. No, Streetcar Named Desire.
Streetcar Named Desire is the play it's from.
Whereas I'm like, due south. All Stanleys need their Stella. But anyway, yeah, that's my first project done.
You're a dork.
What did you finish?
I also finished a project. I showed these in progress last time. I think I had one sock finished.
Was it 3 years ago?
No, I did show them more recently.
Oh, okay, sure.
I showed one sock done, and now I have 2. And these are my favorite asymmetrical toes. Because my socks are different lengths, because I have 2 different size feet.
Oh, okay.
And so it's nice if I can pick them up and know which one's which before I put it on and go, crap, that bunches up my toe. It's the wrong one. So yeah, that's my favorite asymmetrical toe. And this is just a 3x1 rib, but this is the Black Cat Custom Yarns.
Yeah.
And I love her dyeing. Like the colors just are so stunning.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't
What was
worry.
that colorway? Do you remember? No, I asked an evil question.
It is on my phone, so I will check and it'll be in the show notes. I think it was...
Doesn't matter.
Oh, it was a witchy one.
Doesn't matter. Promise.
She's a geek, and they're all like...
They're kind of geeky.
show-based or fandom-based, or... But yeah, like, those colors are just stunning.
Yeah.
Love
It's
it.
fabulous. Fabulous. Oh, I forgot to say what yarn my guys were knit out of, or crocheted out of.
Oh, yeah.
Knit Picks Brava. It's a great acrylic yarn for these because it's nice and soft. And they're very cute.
Very cute.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
I have one more FO.
I have two more.
Okay. Let's finish the FOs. So my other FO, we had a friend made, wrote up a new pattern. She's actually our knitting class instructor.
Do you want me to do that for you?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Dress the sock. And so
Just the foot.
she wrote up a sock pattern called the Slip Seedling socks, and it's great for those variegated yarns that like just kind of are too busy for like lace pattern or cabled pattern. So it's just this little slip stitch pattern,
And it just kind of, it breaks up the...
Yeah, it looks great. I love it.
It is really cute. It's really cute. It's by Jocelyn Shuman. Oh, and it's got a nice eye of partridge heel.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Slip Seedling socks by Jocelyn Shuman on Ravelry and on Patreon. No, on PayHip.
Yeah, I'm like, pay something. Yeah, it's really cute.
And you can buy it here in the store as well. We've purchased a copy for the store.
Yeah.
Or check it out online if you're not from Dawson Creek. And so I did it. I wanted to knit it, and I didn't have any variegated sock yarn left at home. But I did have self-striping. So I did it with self-striping, even though that meant some of the slip stitches would just be hidden in the same, like in a block of the same color. So I wanted to show the difference. So this is following the pattern. So if a pattern is kind of highlighted to break up a colorway, and you have big chunks, sometimes you might see the slip stitches, like up in here, you see the black stitches popping out a little, but other times they're just in the middle of the color chunk, so you don't see them at all. So for the second one, I did the pattern row just on the color change row. And you can see how it is much more visible. And so the slip stitches kind of go this way diagonally, so they shift over by one each time. But I thought it was a neat way to show the difference between like making a pattern work for your sock yarn. If you don't have quite the right sock yarn to make a pattern shine, you can also tweak it a little. Like, so this one, her slip stitch pattern had a 4-row repeat, and I had a yarn that has about 5 rows of color. So on the first one, it often disappeared into the block. So I just shifted it to about every 5th row. And then you get the pattern showing up much more distinctly.
Good plan. I really want to try it on like a micro striping.
Yeah. And then the only change I made was I did twisted stitches on my eye of partridge heel rather than
Not twisted.
straight stitches, because I like the way it fits. It's a little more structured and it stays on my heel better, I find. So yeah. And this yarn is Peyton's Fluorescence.
Okay, how can you tell I have bifocals? Sorry, I keep doing this. Sorry, you have to look up my nose.
That's why you need progressives.
I don't want progressives.
So much nicer.
I'd still have to do it.
Which,
and
oh yeah, the anti-glare on these is pretty awesome. Like, no glare. I'm pretty happy with that.
is there glare on mine? No,
my old ones did, because I didn't pay for the anti-glare because I was too cheap.
I don't think I did anyway.
But
either. Anyway, hi.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's the sock. It's the Peyton's Fluorescence, and the white bands are all reflective in the dark.
Are they?
So they'd be great, like biking
Should I
socks
run
or
back
something.
there and see?
No. Anyway, that's my sock. That's Jocelyn's pattern. Check it out if you're interested in a new easy sock yarn or sock pattern, and you have lots of like variegated yarns that are super variegated.
Oh,
like it would
be
be
look really
fabulous
good
in something like this because it would break up the pooling and flashing. I actually like that, but if you're looking to break it up, it's a great way to break up different color poolings.
Nifty, nifty, nifty. You got 2 pairs of socks done.
I did.
Wow.
I know. I've
Okay.
been on a sock kick lately.
I got 2 hats done. So I've been doing some samples for the store. So this is the first one.
I love this one.
This is it's just it's so soft and squishy. Okay, so the yarn is Estelle Alpaca Drift.
So it's one of the blown fibers. So it's a tube, like a mesh tube on the outside, and then the alpaca is blown into it. So it's super soft and lofty. So
Yeah, you can't tell. I mean, you can see that there's no
ply,
but it knits up. It feels like you're knitting with a single.
Yeah, but you end up with something way lighter. So like for a sweater or a hat, if the hat normally weighed 70 grams and bulky, it weighs about 45.
Yeah, this is a long cabled toque, and it used about 35 grams of yarn.
Yeah.
So yeah, we sell these kits. There's one ball of this, which is a 50-gram ball, and a
snap off faux fur pom-pom.
So then you can wash your hat. See, it's got a snap. I just sewed that right on the top there. And then and somebody was like, oh, you could get different color pom-poms for whatever mood you're in. Yep. But yeah, okay, the pattern. So yarn is Estelle Alpaca Drift, and the pattern is a free one from Estelle as well. It's called Drifting Cable Hats.
It's on their website, but it's also on the back of the ball band if you buy it.
Yeah, if you buy the kit.
Yeah.
Anyway, and it's by Trish Campbell. And it was a lovely knit. It took me no time at all. I was rushing to get it done because we went to the Great Northwest Fiber Fest in Prince George. And I was all like, I'm going to have a sample there of these kits. And then we didn't have room to put the kits in the car. So
the sample stayed.
Oh, no, I actually took it and finished knitting it there.
Oh, right. But you took it as a project,
and
not
it's a great. Oh, I love cables. Cables are amazing, guys.
And guys, you should feel how soft this is.
This is like the softest.
I'm not a huge fan of wearing alpaca because I find even if it's super soft, it's a little prickly. But this, because the alpaca is all directionally it's inside the yarn tube. So it's all going the same direction. So it doesn't poke out like it does in a spun yarn.
Yeah.
So it's not
I am not an
all.
alpaca fan, and I love this.
Yeah.
But it's a store sample. Okay.
Oh, it's probably going to be too big for me, though, if it fits you.
Well, it squishes in. Oh, wow.
Yeah, just a little.
Just a little. It's actually designed to be folded up. You could try folding it up. Okay, and the other one I knit, I haven't washed this yet, so this will fit you perfectly.
It's too short to be.
Because
actually, that's not
how
bad.
I knit, basically, I'll knit something and it'll be nice, it'll be tiny, and then I throw it in water and it just goes and relaxes.
If you've ever pictured what stress or de-stressing looks like, you look at Cindy's knitting when it hits water, because it grows like 3 sizes instantly.
3 sizes. Anyway, so this yarn, this is another star sample.
Actually, it would look really cute with a pom-pom.
Well, it has a pom-pom. It's the same
you just
kits.
haven't put it on, right?
Yeah, because I haven't washed this yet.
Yeah.
So these are more kits that we have. And again, it's 1 ball of yarn and the pom-pom, and comes with a free pattern. So this one is, the yarn is Cascade Lana Grande. And I realized I've knit with it before. I knit my mom a hat and mitts out of it.
The white hat.
Way back when we were at Make One. They had a class.
Button hat.
Yeah, a class for a hat.
It was like quick gift knitting class or something, and it was a bulky
this
hat.
Is seriously, you need a quick gift. I did it in a night. It's fabulous.
Yeah.
The pattern is just called Quick and Cozy Chunky Hat from Estelle. So, you know what? The link was on there, on the ball band, but it didn't actually show up in their free patterns on their website, but it showed up in Ravelry. Anyway, the designer was Jenny Gillard.
They might have just changed the link and forgotten to update
Yeah, I
it or
don't know.
something.
But yeah, so yellow is not my normal color, but I thought it's such a
nice, like,
it's a beautiful
ochre.
Mustard. Yeah, I guess it's darker than mustard. Fine, ochre. And yeah, so it's just this one big cable on a kind of
double seed stitch.
I was like, there's a name for this
stitch.
double moss background, which was kind of cool. It gave me something to think about on the reverse.
I look weird in hats.
You're such a dork.
Oh, you look weird in hats like that too.
Well, yeah, I think anyone would. What a dork. Anyway, so I just have to wash that and put
Stiggy looks cute in a
sew
hat.
on the snap so that I can put the
Am I distracting you?
so I can put on the pom-pom. So that's my other finished project.
Sorry.
I did very good this last.
You did.
I was going to say this last week, but this last period.
Yeah.
And okay, guys, I used to hate pom-poms, but these ones are actually so much fun.
Yeah. I find they're a little heavy.
No,
depending on what the core is made of. Like, so it depends on which pom-pom.
Oh my goodness,
choose.
there is alpaca flying everywhere. So when I was knitting this, the one bad thing about the 2B construction is when I was knitting it, I was like, I mean, I'm always coated in yarn fuzz, but I was coated in alpaca fuzz. I actually had to use a delint roller.
But I've used some blown fiber like this before, and once you've washed it a couple times, it doesn't.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it. I mean, I didn't even wash this one because I didn't have the issue because the alpaca. I don't know. It's lovely.
It's more drapey to start with.
Lovely. Yeah. So yeah, this is a great pattern. Knit the pattern in whatever you have, but it's also great yarn. So
yeah, I have a ball of that. Before we got it in at the store, I had bought it on a trip we went, and I was buying like a yarn at a local yarn shop just to support local.
I thought you had a different blown one.
No, I have that one
drift.
exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and because that was one of the reasons I thought we should get it in once we. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great. They're both quick knits. Like this one only took me 2 nights, maybe 3 nights.
No, I think the third night you were just weaving in ends.
Well, there's only 2 ends to weave in.
Yeah, but I think like you had finished the knitting in 2 nights, I think.
Yeah, so loads of fun. Okay, you have a ongoing project, or do you want to talk about your design that you can't talk about?
I do have a whip. This is probably the first and last time you'll see it. So this is some yarn I dyed years ago. It's on the Fakingsanity Fixation base. But it was dyed as a sock blank. So it was a blue background, and it was stamped with a whole bunch of sea creatures. So there were like octopuses and seahorses, and all the animals were in purple. And
nope, too far, too close.
Too close.
Just come back a bit. Yeah,
like
perfect.
If I hold it so that I can not see the screen, apparently is where it's best focused. So I can't see if it's in focus right now. But
it's fine.
So yeah, all the animals were in purple, and then the background was all the blue for the ocean.
There.
So yeah, I really like the effect of knitting with it, but I hate knitting from a sock blank. So I just wound it up into a ball. And so you kind of get that slightly different values of the blue, depending on like where in the sock blanket was. So it's a little lighter on the inside of the stitches.
Also, the sock blank gives you a kind of marledy look in the ball itself.
A little bit marbled, yeah.
Marbled, that's the term we used. I should have brought my pink sock to show. Because that was done for me. Anyway.
Because
when the yarn doesn't go all the... Yeah, it's cool anyway. You can.
But those ones I specifically dyed to be a marbled effect. And
Yeah.
I called them my marble sock yarn gradients.
Yeah. But this one's also a little marbled.
But this one I did kind of the same. And so it's just the beginning of a little textured pearl pattern. And it's going to be a new design that I'm working on.
Oh, that's why you want to see it again.
So you'll see the toe. But and it's my rounded toe. But then you probably won't see it again because the design is going to be part of a collaboration, and we're releasing them all together later. So there's a group of Canadian designers, and we're all working on patterns to release together. So that's all I can say for now. But that's my whip. I've planned a sock pattern, and I've got it all worked out in 5 sizes. And I thought, since I like super dense, I would try the biggest size, just at a tighter gauge. But that way I can check that my math is all okay before I send it out for test knitting. So if any of you have test knit for me before and you're interested, let me know. Or
they'll have a couple test knits.
Or I'll have a few other test knits coming up too. So there'll be, this sock will have just plain knit and purl texture and a bit of cables. So if you're interested,
you said lace.
No, that I changed it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was an earlier version.
Okay.
So, and now my ball has a hat. Everybody gets a hat today.
Everybody gets a hat. Should I
get a hat?
Knit little hats for these guys? I think he needs a little scarf that like goes around his waist.
Oh yeah, or a sash. Yeah. Anyway, so that's my whip for right now.
Okay. Well, my whip.
This is long standing.
I started this so long ago. Actually, I think I started it last year.
Last summer. Yeah.
Last fallish. But yeah, it is a weekender. But I finally, so it sat in my, someday I'll get back to it pile for ages.
Yeah. Our friend Liz made this sweater out of this yarn and loved it. And then I loved it, so I knit it out of the same yarn. And then one of our
customers walked in yesterday wearing her weekender out of the same yarn.
Yeah. But this was for another customer who really wanted one to match.
Yeah, this is for, customer friend. I'm actually knitting for someone else because this is not my color at all. But yeah, it's a great pattern. I just have to do the ribbing at the top of the front and then join, and then I just have the sleeves, which so when you actually work on it, it's quick. What a concept. The yarn is, I didn't write this one down. It's Sugar Bush Shanty. So it's a wool and linen blend, which is fabulous, which also sheds all over me, but oh well.
Only till you wash it.
Yeah, it's just during the knitting.
And it's so nice.
Like every time you wash
it relaxes a weekender like the linen just softens more and more each time you wash it.
Okay, sorry, and the
machine
pattern
wash and dry.
The pattern is The Weekender by Andrea Mowry, and it just makes me laugh because Sheila, who this is for, is actually this tiny little woman.
She is.
And I could definitely get this on everywhere except where my boobs are. I could stretch it.
Yes, because knitting stretches.
And I am not
Sheila sized.
I am not Sheila sized.
But it's got loads of positive E's. I think it's like 16 inches of positive E's or something.
Anyway, it's lovely. I am quite enjoying knitting it, but I have to hurry because our friend Rebecca has decided that she really, really, really wants to learn how to knit a sweater.
Really.
And she was going to do it with Jocelyn in the
sweater class
after Christmas.
January.
Jocelyn's hoping to do a sweater class, but she was like, I really can't wait. So I am going to knit a sweater with Rebecca.
Yeah. It was so cute because she was here when Jocelyn was saying she's planning a class for maybe January for a sweater.
Yeah.
And she got so excited, like the next day she was like, okay.
So when's the class?
When's the class?
And what yarn can we use?
What's the pattern? And so that I can pick, yarns that would work for it. And then she was like, well, she didn't know, so I thought I'd go through Ravelry and see like what patterns are available to see if I could guess what she would choose because I know her really well. And she was like,
oh my God, there's so many patterns on Ravelry. I'm like, yeah.
It was cute. She's very, all of a sudden, she farms. So she has like no time because she farms. So the summer has been crazy. And she's doing classes for a master's in...
Not masters.
Well, they're master levels classes because she was debating taking getting a diploma or a degree. And she's doing right now like soil and like regenerative planting and regenerative soil
So
practices.
she's a little bit busy, but when she gets obsessed with something, like I taught her how to do socks.
And then she became a sock knitting machine.
So 3 years ago, when we went down to the Prince George Fiber Fest, I went down with Rebecca that year.
Yeah.
And you stayed and ran the store. And I taught her how to knit socks on that trip, and she has knit, I don't know how many socks, like probably close to, actually I have no clue, a lot of socks since then. Especially since her family always seems to end up in the hospital, so she sits and
knits at a bed
in an emergency room or at a bedside or whatever. So
she enjoys knitting, but it's also a stress relief for her.
And it's and she loves socks because there's just this long, like she usually has 15 bajillion different socks on the go, because she has one that, you know, she's almost up to the heel, and you can't do a heel when you're stressed or whatever. So, you know, as long as she has the long straight, she just does straight socks. Anyway, so we decided we are going to do the Harvest Cardigan by TinCanKnits, because that's a perfect starter project. That starter sweater.
That whole series by TinCanKnits is...
It's from the Simple collection, which has rye and barley and they're all amazing patterns. They have wonderful
links and tutorials.
Yeah, tutorials is the word I was looking for. So if you get stuck on something, you can totally help.
Let me try and fish out the words from Cindy's brain.
Thank you. My brain does not work. So she bought Malbriga Rios in the Pearl 10.
Which is one of my all-time favorite colors.
And I'm going to do mine in Cascade 220 Superwash in, I can't remember what the color is actually called, but it's like a charcoal heather, which is fabulous. But, okay, so I don't know if you've, realized this about me, but I have boobs. I have boobs, like, out the wazoo? That sounds just weird.
That sounds bad.
Let's
give you a look.
Thanks.
Just very quickly.
This is usually why we
up.
Yeah, I'm like, my boobs are they're just there. Anyway, so I did all sorts of research, and my Harvest Cardigan, I am going to do both vertical bust darts and horizontal bust darts. So basically, instead of measuring my widest point at my bust and doing that size of
which gives you
cardigan,
like a really oversized, floppy, schlumpy looking cardigan at your shoulders.
The shoulders would be too big. The armholes always, like all my armholes, I have this extra material. So basically, I'm going to do it this size.
And then just
right
increase
here
for the bust.
And then, I do, increases. And so vertical darts are basically you increase above the boobs and then decrease quite quickly below. But basically, you can just add the increases into your
neckline.
Thank you. My brain. I've lost all my words. Okay. And then horizontal bust darts is actually doing short rows over, because if you've seen anyone with any kind of boobage, often the front of their sweater will be much higher than the back, because it has extra
distance
to cover. And so I'm reading all this stuff about the bust darts and stuff, and it says basically, if you have cup size C or D, you might need to or larger, you might need to add in bust darts. I haven't seen cup size D since I was about 14, so I'm definitely adding in some bust darts.
Yeah. I think you'll be pleased with the results. I think it'll get you a cardigan that will fit, but also sit well.
Well, and that's the thing, and it's top down, so I can try it on constantly and stuff. But I have done one sweater before. The whole point is, I haven't wanted to do sweaters because that's a lot of knitting for my size. And if it doesn't fit well, why?
Yeah.
I can go pay $20 for a terrible Walmart cardigan.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm going to make this fit perfectly. And
you will love it because it'll sit perfectly.
Yes. Okay.
Cardigans always fall off if they're too big in the shoulders.
Well, and that's why I usually like hoodies, because the neckline tends to be tight, more in.
Yeah.
But What was I gonna say? Oh, I have knit one sweater before, that I ended up never ever wearing, and I ripped out.
Yeah.
So
You wore
this
it
one,
once?
I wore it once. I wore it to Knit in
Public.
Public Day, 14 years ago, just after I finished knitting it, and then it just went in a drawer.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was
so
a while ago.
It was a long time ago. It might have been 15 years ago. It was a long time ago.
I think it was more than that. I think it was not much after we started knitting.
Yeah, it was, anyway. So I'm excited about that. So you will hopefully hear the continuing story of my sweater. This week's project is to gauge swatch, which I don't normally do. Yeah. Rebecca was also like, I have to gauge swatch, but I don't want to waste that yarn. And we're like, afterwards you can pull it out and
reuse it.
Yeah. But it's important. So I am gauge swatching.
And you have to wash your swatch.
Yes, and wash your swatch. So yeah, especially me, because like I said, everything
3 size differences
relaxes so much. Yeah. So I'm really excited about that. That's going to be my epic project. But to get started on that, I have to finish this one.
So I actually got up this morning and she was sitting on the couch knitting.
Yeah.
Which never happens.
Well, it was afternoon.
It was not.
But I also, yesterday before
and
work.
it wasn't when I woke up. It was
when you got out of bed.
Out of my room.
Yeah. I had been up since like 9, just lying in bed playing stupid little merge games. But yesterday before work, I actually woke up early.
Yeah.
And instead of lying in my bed playing stupid little merge games, I got up and I knit. So I'm gonna try to keep doing that.
Yeah.
Gotta talk about that.
Okay, so you can't see this one, but I'm going to show you this one because it's part of my secret project knitting, but I finished a new design. This is inside out because you can't see it.
It's colorwork, just in case.
It's a colorwork hat. There's actually going to be a couple of colorwork hats and a colorwork cowl and a pair of socks. And I've just all of a sudden, after our Fiberfest and the Fiberfest in Prince George, had all these ideas in my head. And so knitting a pattern hasn't really, like, going to search for a pattern. Yeah. Because that usually takes me a week or 2 of research. Didn't appeal, so I just started playing around. And I'm super happy, and it's going to be great. It's going to be fabulous, and it appeals to the geek in me. And
it really, we actually showed it at Knit Night because none of them are.
Nobody's online in that group.
And they were very excited about it too.
I'm very, very excited.
Yeah, I mean, it's still, the project is just in the first planning stages. So it's it'll be quite a while. But
so
it's cool.
You may see less knitting from me. Like I might have more spinning content just because my knitting is probably going to be focused on testing my designs and like rejigging stuff and stuff like that. But I also have a shawl.
You can talk about the yarn though.
Yeah. So this yarn is Estelle Superwash DK, which is not ideal for colorwork. It was just
what was there?
Available yarn I had in the shop in the right
But it's so nice.
It's so soft. And
I hadn't actually knit anything with it before.
It's what I'm making that blue sweater out of that I have at home.
Oh, see, I have I make tons and tons of scarves out of their
they're chunky.
No, it's actually the worsted, but it's the one that's part wool, part acrylic, which is a great yarn too. I can't remember what it's called.
And this one is their 100% merino. DK, and it's super soft. It was really a struggle. Like I don't usually struggle too much with
not good for
tension on colorwork.
But it was just for testing out the design.
And I did for this, but this was just to test out the chart. And it's an affordable yarn, so I didn't feel like I was wasting tons of money because I'm still cheap, even if I have a yarn store behind me.
Well, behind us right now is the bookstore.
Okay, to the right of me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm super pleased, and I can't wait for everybody to see this one. It's going to be fabulous.
Yes. I love it.
And I love knitting with this yarn. I think
I
want
to knit something with it.
It's a fabulous sweater yarn, like for something relaxed, like the Weekender or something like that. Like it's the wrong gauge for the Weekender, but anything that's kind of got that style, it would be amazing for. for just to
And baby
test.
stuff. It would be
Yes.
perfect for baby stuff. I actually think I need to knit a baby sweater out of it.
Because you don't want nylon in baby stuff because it'll melt if
Yeah.
it gets burned. But this would be amazing.
Yeah, I was thinking I need to knit a sample for the store out of it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
add that to my list.
Yeah, and you can't really tell the design. That's why I felt okay showing this, because there were some long floats. It's not a beginner-friendly colorwork design. This one's more advanced. So you have to like twist and lock in your floats.
Color work.
But I'm super excited.
Oh my goodness, I was trying to do some color work crochet.
Oh yeah, the corner-to-corner stuff.
No. The corner stuff is easy. I was trying to do
the
an
alien
amigurumi.
doll.
I was doing an alien that was going to have some color work. Oh, I ended up ripping it out. It was evil. But, sorry, yeah, because I'm not a color work fan. I will do the most complex lace or cables. Yeah. Do you have another?
I don't have
project?
another whip, but I have another project. This is the next one I'm starting.
Oh.
But I wanted to show the yarn.
Oh, it's so pretty.
Okay, you're going to have to help me.
Yeah,
though.
I will hold some.
Okay, so this is the Art Fill
Color bundle.
Art Fill color bundles, and they're the little braided ones that are like 6 different colors braided together.
Oh, there's, yeah, okay.
So this is the set, and this is going to be for one of my
Surprise.
sort of autumnal
projects too.
Autumnal themed
Yeah, this
designs.
This set is called Foliage.
Yeah.
And it's just...
It reminds me of foliage at home. Like
Yeah.
here,
So here
in
we
the
don't
West-
have this. Okay. Oh, I got it.
Thank you.
It's between my legs.
Here in the West, you get yellow
This
and
is-
orange. That's it.
Yeah, you don't... See? Okay. Yellow's over there, so we no longer get that for fall. No, not even that one. This.
Yeah,
and
you get
then greens.
the dried orange.
This is the pines that are still and then you get yellow. That's we're
But at
missing
home
some
we get
certain
like
colors here.
almost fluorescent yellow and like bright orange and bright pinks,
Even redder
and,
than that,
and
right?
well, this is kind of pinky red, but yeah, we get bright reds and bright pinks because the sugar maples turn so bright,
And we don't have them up
and there's
here.
no sugar maples this far north or west.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Home for her is southern Quebec.
Yes. Very southern Quebec, where like everybody talks about the US-Canada border being on the 49th parallel, and where I am, it's actually down closer, just below the 45th.
Is it down that far?
It is. It really is.
Because we're at the like...
Yeah, because Canada goes like this until Ontario,
Yeah, and then goes
down to the Great Lakes.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I'm excited about this project and this yarn.
I've knit with this yarn before.
I have not knit with it.
The
and
bell
I'm super
yarn is
excited.
fabulous. Their colors are amazing.
Yeah. And they're a dyer from Montreal.
And our 12 Days of Christmas this year
Oh yes.
is dyed by them.
Go get the sample.
Okay. Excuse me.
So some of you know over the last year and the year before, you might not know about last year since we weren't podcasting, but we do an advent calendar. And so we do a 12 Days of Christmas or a full 24 in teas. So tea of the day for the advent calendar, or yarn of the day. For the yarn ones, we usually do a 12 Days of Christmas. And we just sew up these little cotton pouches. Cindy does them. And then we put them together. And they're all custom made. And then they're reusable. So the next year you can just bring it in and we can refill it for a fraction of the cost for you.
So
and
we had
it's
people
less
already
stuff
bring
in the
theirs
garbage.
from last year.
Yeah. So it's a fun way to reduce waste and still get a new treat. And
And last year we did Malabrigo.
yes, all
Malabrigo
new colors
sock.
of Malabrigo sock.
And this year we're doing colors by Artfill.
Yes. Some brand new stuff that we haven't had before. And
We're very excited.
we're very excited.
Yeah, so there's
we've
a
seen the stuff
20
and-
gram mini in each.
Yeah. And it's
In each bag.
fabulous. Yeah.
We're excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it for my works in progress.
Okay.
What about you?
I have stuff I bought.
Okay, before we go into that.
Yeah.
So we kind of jumped into the knitting content because that's the exciting part, and we know you're all here for that. But before we jump into the the Northwest Great Northwest Fiber Fest in Prince George, I want to talk a bit about, I'm going to fiddle with a dinosaur because when I'm stressed, I like to fiddle. Understatement, eh?
Stress. Yes.
Yeah.
Understatement.
Usually she can tell when I'm stressed because my leg starts bouncing, which is funny because my dad does that too. And I always found it annoying, but apparently I do it all the time too.
She made the whole...
and we go to movies.
Oh,
and if it's a stressful scene, the whole row of seats is jittering.
And I have the smallest bladder known to man, so her jittering makes me have to go pee. Anyway,
didn't even notice I did it, but anyway, after the last podcast, there were some comments on YouTube under the podcast that were not very nice and very transphobic, and so I wanted to address a couple of issues. Some of the comments were like, "Oh my God, are you transitioning to a man? I can't watch," and if that's the case, and you know, that's fine. If you don't want to watch because you don't like what we represent or what we're showing, just leave. Like, there are so many different podcasts, and some aren't my taste and some aren't your taste, and that's cool. Just follow the ones you like, and unfollow the ones you don't. Like, life's too short to do something you don't enjoy in your spare time. Like, enjoy your spare time. It's yours. But if you feel the need to be transphobic, no, we're going to be removing your comments. And no, I'm not transitioning to become a man. I'm not a man. I've never been a man. But I've also never felt girly girl or womanly. And so if I decide not to shave and that offends you, you should leave. Because life's too short and I don't want to deal with moderating comments. So yeah. Other than that, if you don't care that I don't shave, stick around because there's going to be more dinos and owls. And yeah, anyway, transphobic comments are just going to be deleted. Like, I'm not dealing with that. So we want our store, our business, everything associated with us. We try to make it inclusive. Like, we've had, pride meetings and church meetings in our store at the same time without issue. And I think, like, whether you believe in one thing or another doesn't matter. We can all be civil and spend time together and find the commonalities. It doesn't mean you have to share everything, but we don't have to beat each other down.
Yes.
So anyway. Otherwise, my dino will get you.
It's so cute. I'm sorry. I need to make more. They are so cute.
They are. They're so adorable. Also,
I have so many more patterns.
Sorry for the wobble of the camera there because he got too enthusiastic.
Okay,
not me. Just
Stanley. Yeah, Stanley the Steggy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
we spent some money.
Yes, we actually did really
good.
We
were very, very good. We went to the Great Northwest Fiberfest in Prince George.
It was fabulous this year. Like, it was so much.
They did an amazing job.
Yeah, they had like really good promotions this year. Like, they did a lot more social media and got a lot more of the younger knitters were there. Like, I think the audience, like the people coming, there was a lot more younger knitters.
Well, you know what? There was the year you didn't come as well.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And then there was the pandemic.
And then it was canceled for a year because of COVID. And then last year was very much even knowing if it was going to happen. It was the day before vaccine mandates went into, or vaccine passports went into effect in BC. So it was really like.
So, and for those of you who aren't aware what that is, so for COVID,
everybody's heard of.
No, because they don't call it that everywhere. And if you're in Canada, yes, maybe, but not elsewhere. So it was just a vaccine requirement that you had to, if you were going to an indoor event, you had to have your.
You had to show that you had been vaccinated.
Your proof that you had both your first two vaccinations.
Yeah. Well, actually, at that point, it was just you had to show you just one because it hadn't been long enough.
But it had to be like you had to have the vaccination and register it like on the app with the government.
So it was just before that. So. It was just in this one little there was about a 2-month period where things had opened up because they thought COVID was getting better, and then it got worse again.
And it got really worse.
So last year was very. I think we maybe talked about it. We maybe never posted that podcast. I don't know.
I think we didn't.
it was much smaller and you had less vendors and really spread out. It was really well done last year.
Yeah.
But there was less people. This year, they had a great turnout. They had amazing amount of vendors. It was just great. It was so well organized.
Yeah.
Good job, Jen and Bonnie and Andrea.
Yeah. They even had like the local Air Cadets squad there helping
out,
which was great because two of the vendors that were coming from Dawson, one had broken her clavicle and the other had torn her meniscus in her knee.
Yeah,
so both of them were not able to carry their booth supplies from their trucks
they had
to unload.
they had the Air Cadets helping vendors set up and take down, and they were like, can we help you? And we were kind of just like, we have it down pretty much. We're like, oh no, we're good. Until
Janet said they were so good. She said like the second that the time finished and they closed the doors, there were 3 cadets at her booth saying okay and started packing it up for her. Like didn't even.
It was fabulous. Anyway, and we got to see some of our favorite vendors.
Yes.
And buy stuff. But we both did very good. I only bought 2. You only bought 2, right?
I did, yes.
Yeah. And that's not bad. And you bought 2 that you actually have ideas for.
Yes.
I don't. I just went, ooh, pretty. It was very hard because we were right behind Violet, Very Violet Knits.
Very Violet Ventures.
That's what it is. And I kept going, ooh, that's so pretty. She's from here. We sell her yarn in the store. I don't need to buy her yarn in Prince George.
No, but she also had dyed a bunch of new colorways that we hadn't seen before that were really nice.
I have a project.
Hand spun
I have a project on the go out of one of her dyed yarns that you'll probably see next week. Next podcast. Because it was one of those projects that I needed something to knit at midnight, so I just grabbed it. And it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
So
she has really sensitive skin, so she just dyes like super fine merino bases or merino with nylon cashmere or merino silk cashmere. So they're all like super soft.
But speaking of super soft, this I got from K-Zip Knits.
It's just so radiant.
Because it's just
you can't see the shine.
See the shine. It is like the shiniest yarn ever. It is superwash BFL and silk, and you would not tell that it is BFL.
Well, BFL can be finer. Like
yes, I know, but like
it feels like an MCS or an MC.
It's amazing. Yeah, it feels like it's got cashmere in it. It's got the shine of silk, and I just could not resist. I wonder if we hold it
from this side if you can see the
it's
shine better.
No, it's just fuzzy.
No,
stop it.
Sorry. Okay. It's super shiny. It looks like 50-50 silk wool.
So, it is. It's 55% superwash BFL and 45% silk.
Oh, so pretty close.
Yeah. It is K-Zip Knits, Beach Ave DK in Amazon River. It's beautiful.
And
it's really funny.
Is so lovely.
Oh, they both are. I was actually unloading my yarn from the Peace Fiber Fest, from our Fiber Fest, and I was like, oh yeah, I bought something from them, this one too, and I haven't knit it. So anyway, I'm gonna try to do something. I was actually thinking a hat, but then I was like, this is so soft and I want to use like every little bit of it. So it might be like a cowl or something. Well,
and you're really sensitive around your neck, so that's the perfect yarn.
Yeah, like I cannot wear anything remotely itchy. Like on my head, no problem. Yeah. Whatever, I will wear anything. Here, no. And, I will wear a dino on my head. Okay, anyway. See how long I can balance.
You said you would wear anything on your head.
Yeah, it's fabulous. I have an idea for it. I'm not too sure if it'll work. But I think I'm gonna do like a cowl that looks like a shawl, because it's cold here in the winter and I need something around my neck.
Like Zuzu's petals again, or something
not
like
that one. I've done that one 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
But no, I saw someone had like a Guernsey one, so it was just different seeds patterns, textured stitches. I was like, I can't concentrate while trying to hold it on my head. And it's a hard enough time getting words out of my mouth.
It's like I can't speak, my hands are full.
Exactly.
For those of you who talk with your hands, that makes sense.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't, it probably doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, and so it's just really textured. It was beautiful. So I can't remember where I saw it, so I'm gonna see if I can find that again.
It would be great for that Agent 99 cowl I did too.
Oh, I've done that
sits
too.
like a cowl.
Yeah, I've done that one
sits like a
too.
shawl.
That one was really good with different colors and stuff, though.
Yeah.
So this one, yeah, I was just thinking because it's such a pretty and it's a solid color, which I am often more. I need the variegated. So would the
But you tend to wear
texture,
the solid stuff
exactly.
more.
I know. I like to buy the variegated. But yeah, I think the textured stitches will really pop in this.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's got a really
idea.
good twist and good body despite the high silk content.
Yeah,
like it's super high twist. I think it'll be a very round.
Go see
good...
KZipKnits at wherever you are.
I guess you might have seen her at Knit City this weekend. She was there. She was wearing the dress she finished. So she was.
She was showing us the.
She was knitting this dress.
It's amazing.
And it was like she's worn different knitted dress to every Fiber Fest I've seen her at, and they're like below the knee entirely knit dresses.
Yeah, they're amazing,
outstanding.
Yeah.
And she finished it, like just put an I-cord or something on the edges, so she did it sleeveless.
Yeah.
For this one. But yeah.
I guess this weekend is Knit City. Yeah. We're obviously not there.
Yeah. One day. I'd love to go one day.
Okay. What did you buy?
I bought two things.
Well, I bought another thing too, but we're alternating.
Okay. So
jeez.
Sorry, a mosquito was on it, and I was like, "What's that fuzz?" And I pulled it off and squished a mosquito. They're trying to come inside because it's getting cold outside. So I bought.
I'm sorry. I'm so Canadian. I'm so Canadian from the 90s.
Yeah.
Does everybody squish your head? Okay.
No.
Sorry. It's a Kids in the Hall thing. I didn't even watch Kids in the Hall, but everybody knows.
I think they maybe mocked it on Wayne's World too, or something like that.
Possibly. Wayne's World was pretty Canadian.
Yeah. So the first skein I bought, I went looking specifically for a skein for this design that I can't show you anymore. I had forgotten I had this yarn, and I knew I wanted something blue. Or gray or somewhere in that range, but it had to be, because of what the design is going to be, it had to be not too variegated, so not too high value differences if it was tonal either. So this is Sock Light by Chester Knits.
She also does beautiful dyeing.
She does beautiful stuff, and she and I hit it off at the Fiber Fest in Prince George last time because she was a database admin or a programmer.
Computer nerd somehow.
Computer nerd. And I was a database admin for 12 years before we did this. So, and we talked about, how the precision of data and computer language ties in well with dyeing. So yeah, we had a nice little chat, and I love her yarn and her bases. This one, so she's from the Chilcotin, Caribou Chilcotin area in Williams Lake.
In BC.
In BC, yes, sort of central BC. Most people consider it northern, but it's about halfway.
Not even. Prince George is halfway. So
yeah,
Williams Lake is maybe
of the way up?
Maybe a third of the way, maybe a quarter of the way. It's considered northern BC. Basically,
it's north of Vancouver. Yeah. It's considered northern.
Yeah.
But anyway, she was going to come up to our Fiber Fest, but then it didn't work out this year. So we're hoping she'll be a vendor next year, because I don't know if you can see, but there's these subtle, like kind of sandy brown colored speckles throughout, and it's just going to work so well for the design I'm doing. And little bits of green speckles.
You're getting too close.
You can kind of see them here. Little bits of green, and then just this subtle shift of blues, and it is so soft. So this is her, like I said, Sock Light base, which is an 80% merino, 20% nylon, but it feels like there's cashmere in it. Like, it's so nice and soft, and I'm super excited because I haven't knit with hers before. I have a skein. I have a skein from her from the last year.
Me too.
And I haven't knit with it yet.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really knit. So it's nice to get back into that. But yeah, I'm very excited to try hers. And yeah,
Cool.
yay for supporting another Canadian dyer. It's always nice to buy local stuff. And
Yeah.
up here, local means anything north of Vancouver basically is as local as we can get.
Yeah.
Typically.
Okay, so my other purchase was this gorgeous,
That's amazing.
gorgeous scrumptiousness. It is hand spun by Nomad Fiberworks.
She was the booth right in front of us, so we were staring at her stuff all day.
It's beautiful. So it's a worsted weight. This is another one that I had been thinking hat and then went, well, but I want to use every little bit of this beautiful yarn. So it might be
soft enough you could totally
Oh,
wear
I
that
know.
on your neck.
But I don't need that many different cowls, so I don't know. It's gorgeous. Yeah, Nomad Fireworks. She's in Edmonton, right? Yeah. She's fabulous.
She was part of the Alberta Fiber Project.
Alberta Yarn Project.
Alberta Yarn Project.
Yeah, but yes.
Before they they moved apart, so they each started their own companies.
Yeah. She's fabulous. Yeah. And I'm just so excited about this gorgeous colorway. It's
amazing.
Beautiful. She was like, I'm going to warn you now, it will bleed. I'm like, I kind of figured with that saturation and that much blue and teal.
Yeah, the teal.
Yeah, it will. Yeah, I am ready for it. So I am so excited about that. I have no idea yet what I'm going to knit with it.
Yeah.
Just something pretty.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, and it's, oh my God, it's so soft. It's it's just, it's 100% superwash merino.
But very fine merino. I guess it's probably 18 micron.
I love her. I know that a lot of people like hand spun stuff that looks really hand spun.
Like very art yarny?
Yeah, art yarny. I like hand spun that you can't really tell is hand spun, which is...
But you can.
You can.
It's marled and you can see the different colors in the plies, but it's really well done and
really even. I like
even.
I'm not big on thick and thin and stuff, but it's gorgeous. I'm so excited to knit with it.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm gonna knit with it. I have so much yarn. It's okay. What else?
I
what
only
else
have one more. Yeah. So this one,
I love her
knew
stuff.
Going down, I would look at her booth first. So it's Scarves for Hope. And so she started out this business knitting up scarves to sell as fundraisers, and she donates them to a charity, all the proceeds to a charity. And so the cost was high, so she started dyeing her own yarn in order to keep
Lower
the
the
cost
cost
down
of...
so she could donate more. And then people were trying to buy the yarn, so she started doing booths with, half scarves, half yarn. And now, this time, she had really kind of fleshed out her booth to be,
at Fiberfest, she brings the yarn
aspect with
and
a little rack
craft
of
sales.
finished
Yeah, at craft sales, she
scarves
does
and stuff.
mainly the other stuff.
But this, so her tagline is handcrafted scarves and yarn, all for a good cause.
Yeah.
And it's one of those you just feel good about supporting. And she's such a sweet lady.
Yeah.
And she is from just outside of Prince George. I think 10 minutes out, she's not even in the next town. But it was just this cool kind of tonal foresty colors. There's some kind of sprucey green and a bit of olivey green, and it's showing a little lighter and more taupey olive than it actually is. But I love it. And it's super soft, and it's an 80% merino, 20% nylon. So it'll be good for socks or scarves or whatever I choose.
I bought a couple from her last year just because they were amazing dye jobs and really cheap and amazingly cheap.
Yeah, she was way underpriced the last time.
I think she's kind of...
It was still low.
It was her first time
show
last year, and
as
she
a
didn't
dyer.
really know. Yeah, she didn't know what to charge for her yarn, and we were all like, charge more.
Yeah.
People will pay more.
So she had brought them up a little bit this year. She's still on the low end of prices, but her yarn is so beautiful, and I knew I wanted to support her business.
And yes, I just love the thought. Yeah.
So she says,
Hope International, right?
Yeah, she donates it to Hope International Development Agency to support clean water projects in southern Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Is her charity that she supports. And I don't know if that changes every few years or if it's a permanent kind of passion of hers.
I can't remember what
but
it was
I know
last year. I think it was somewhere.
I know it was
similar things like water development.
Yeah.
Which is so important. And yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the big projects at Samaritan's Purse when I worked there that I loved supporting.
Yeah.
Clean water is so important for everything about your life, whether you can get to school or not because you're sick. So, like, you absolutely need water.
Okay.
So, so that's my second purchase. And I'm thinking this is a color that could work for one of the designs I'm thinking of. And if not, it will be socks because it's amazing. And I need nylon in my socks because I'm hard on my socks.
Yeah. I think that's all the... Oh, did you want to talk about Moose Meadows? Is that why it's...
Oh, well, just in the Fiber Fest,
we got some more Moose Meadows to sell at the store.
Talk about, because we had gotten some of this for the shop after last year's Fiber Fest. We kind of picked out an order of their yarn, which is the 2-ply mule spun alpaca merino, and then some of their fiber. And look at this
Their
little guy.
fiber always goes so well. And last year we didn't buy much of the fiber because we didn't know how it was like gone within a couple weeks. So this year it's so handy because we're both there at the Fiber Fest. Then and whatever she has left, we can go. Okay, we'll take this.
And said we'll take a couple bins back. And save on the shipping, and she doesn't have to ship it.
And she's from Bushy Lake, which is
just west of Prince George near Quesnel.
Yeah.
So we love her yarn. I think the last podcast I had shown a hat in this yarn.
Yeah, you did.
With the mountain range twisted stitches and cables. And it just blooms so nicely.
Yeah.
So, and it's all undyed for the stuff we got. It's all just sorted by natural color of the alpaca. So, So,
okay.
That was fun.
Yay. Okay, so culture consumed. So this is the period where we talk about what we've watched, read, played, whatever.
Yeah.
In the last little while. And I was thinking I wanted to talk about the Ellie Griffiths novels that I read because this is my second time reading them all, but I think the first time we weren't podcasting because it was right in the middle of COVID.
Yeah, and our mental health was just not good.
So she has a series called the Ruth Galloway series. It starts with The Crossing Places. And so this time she had a new book of hers came out, and so I read it, and I stayed up way too late. I stayed up till like 4 a.m. finishing it because I had to know how it ended.
That's why you were so brainless at work.
I'm always brainless at work.
No, it's usually me.
and then I immediately just reread the entire series, and I think there's 14 books. And so it's about an archaeologist in Norfolk she's a forensic archaeologist, and so her specialty is bones, and so she gets called in to help with the police. And then it's all about and it's so good because there's so many characters. There's Ruth, that's the archaeologist, and then there's the main policeman is DCI Nelson, and then his team and her friends and then their families and just as you read the books, every book is a really interesting mystery that always has something to do with archaeology. And then the stories, all of the characters just develop so much, and they grow, and you start to get their point of view.
And that's what you love about a book.
I just love the character development. It is an amazing series. I definitely would say you have to read them in order, or else you'll miss a lot. It was funny because reading the newest book, and Cathbad is one of Ruth's best friends and stuff, and then rereading the first book where he's kind of the suspect, and it was really interesting.
That's cool.
Cathbad's not his actual name. He's a druid, so everyone calls him Cathbad. But I highly recommend these books.
Well, and everybody you've recommended them to the store has come back for more. I don't think one person has said, it wasn't for me.
Yeah, and I recommended them to my mom last week, and usually my mom takes a week
while
or
to get
two
into a
to
book.
read a book.
Not this time.
She was like, I need the next one, and then so I was like, oh yeah, here I have the next one, and then she came like the next day and was like, I need the next one.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, Mom, you're really enjoying this, and she's like, give me more.
So funny. So she has a hard time sleeping, and so like reading just before bed a mystery isn't an easy way to lull yourself to sleep. And she was like, I could not put it down. It's so cute.
She also said that about the Louise Penny one.
Yeah.
That she wrote with Hillary Clinton.
Yeah. Yeah, she said that one was amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, I highly recommend the Ruth Galloway series by Ellie Griffiths.
Yeah.
The first one is The Crossing Places.
I've been reading.
Have you been reading?
I've been reading, well, actually listening to this time.
James Rollins.
Thank you. I'm like the guy I love.
You were listening to.
I had just started listening.
On the previous.
Yeah,
podcast.
I had just started listening.
And you haven't
to
finished it. I finished
one.
an audiobook in like a day.
So, I have a hard. Well, okay. So audiobooks, I don't hear well. So audiobooks are hard for me because I have to have like no sound around. So I tend to only listen to audiobooks if I'm in the living room alone and Cindy's in her room with the door closed, or I'm in my room alone and Cindy's in the living room and my door is closed. You're right. It's hard to concentrate with them there.
Sorry. Yep.
So there's limited times because I also, if I'm out and there's a bit of noise, I want to be, knitting. And so I want something to occupy me. So if I can't listen properly, I usually throw on a show.
Yeah.
Because I can see it and that clues me in on the stuff that I miss hearing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Anyway,
So I
James Rollins.
have been struggling through this thing. I listen like a chapter and go, enough for today. I love James Rollins. I even
But not this one.
love the later ones in this series. Like one of my favorite of his of all time was The Sixth Extinction, which is like much later in this series. And it's what made me want to go back and read this series.
Yeah.
And I'm struggling. I'm going to finish it just because I've wasted so much time on it now. I need to finish it.
I actually there's a couple books I was listening to and I'm like, no, I'm totally not in the mood. I missed all this. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, maybe some other time. Yeah.
It's just like some authors, their first one is their best one and the rest kind of, they're good, but his writing definitely improved so much as he went. Like I love his new stuff. And this is the second time I've tried. The first time I tried reading
the first book. So what's it called?
The first book, Sandstorm.
Oh.
And yeah, this time I'm listening to it and it's not any better.
No.
So yeah.
Okay. So if you're thinking about reading James Rollins, jump into the later books.
Yep. The introduction of the character, while it does give you a bit more understanding of
you get it all later
who he is, it's not critical. Like I didn't feel like I was missing anything other than he was like in the one I read, he had a partner and there's some history with his partner in the first one that you get. So I didn't know why he had trust issues, but
you can just say he has trust issues.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know.
So, yeah, skip ahead.
Yeah.
Pick the one that the premise of the book interests you. Don't worry about reading them in order with his. So,
I know you have to show off your other.
Well, no, I wanted to talk about when I wanted to knit, because I was working on those designs but couldn't listen. I just put on TV.
Oh, right.
And so I
found a new TV show.
I finished 911 and then I finished 911 Lone Star and I was like,
911 has started again.
So I went looking for a new show and we recently got Disney.
In order to watch Marvel.
Because she wanted to watch the Marvel movies. And so I went looking what was on there and they had a show called Motherland, which I had seen previews for and it looked interesting. And I love it. Like I am hooked. I've gotten through like 2 seasons already in a week or so, I think. It's great. It's so it's taking a look at witches, but so it's set in the States and witches are a different race. Like they have physiological differences to humans. So they have like special vocal cords that allow them to make different sounds. Like they sound like humans, but they can also make these other sounds with their throats that we can't. And back in the Salem witch trials, this one lady, Alder, made a pact with the leader there in Salem and said, if you spare us and stop burning us and seeking us out, we will be your army and we will defend this nation against all your enemies. And so the witches have been the army, and it's a conscription thing. Like if you're the daughter of a witch, on your, I think it's 18th birthday, you get an invitation and you're supposed to recite the thing, and you're pledged basically as soon as you're born to serve your country. But you get that invitation on the 18th, and they go through boot camp and like military college, and like it's just how the military is done in this world. And it's really interesting because now they're starting to deal with like, what if you find out you're a witch later in life and you didn't know because your parent kept it a secret or didn't know themselves? And so they're dealing with, well, I'm the same person I was a week ago. So it's very much like the LGBT, like coming out but I didn't change. I'm still the same. So they're dealing with that sort of issue. But also there's a lot of secrecy and sort of just below the surface stuff, because there are still people who are afraid of witches because of the power they wield. Okay. And so...
And you said that they also dealt with, like, well, what if they don't want to be in the army? And
yes. So there are people who are, like, draft dodgers. Just like during the wars, there were draft dodgers. And, like, they deal with... One of the main characters in the first season was... Her parents were draft dodgers. And one of the main characters is... a lesbian. A couple of the main characters are Black. Like, it's really diverse, and they deal with a lot of different issues. So they have one girl who had a special dispensation because she was the last in her line. Okay. And her mom got special dispensation that she wouldn't have to serve in the army. But she wanted to, because she wanted to be a part of serving her country. And so she went and, like, dealing with stressed familial relationships because of that. And, like, it's really...
like, a completely female cast, basically, right?
Probably 90%. There are a couple of male witches, and there are, like they deal with the president.
People outside.
The president actually is a Black woman in this show.
Excellent.
The vice president is a white man, though.
Okay.
And so there are a few men, but they're not the main
But
part.
but the fact that the main cast is all women, that's cool.
And, like, all strong women, and, like, dealing with self-worth, and, like, there's so many issues that they tackle, and yet the story is amazing, and it's getting better. Like, season 1, I think, took me, like, 5 of those 7 days, and then season 2 was this weekend. I was just like, I can't stop.
So it's called Motherland.
It's called Motherland, and it's streaming on Disney Plus right now.
In Canada.
In
Who
Canada.
knows anywhere else, but
I've seen ads for it on American, like, on YouTube, on other American creators channels, so I'm guessing it's available in these states somewhere.
Just not necessarily the same.
But totally worth the watch if you want a different take on witches. It's fabulous. I was actually thinking of Krista when I saw it and thought she would love this.
Oh, cool. Okay, and now I don't have anything else to talk about. I've been listening to some books, but they haven't really caught my attention all that much.
You should talk about it since you bought it.
Okay, well, this one here is a little obsessed with Oregon Trail. I don't know how old most of you people are. Probably all old enough to remember Oregon Trail, or possibly too old. But Oregon Trail was a computer game in the 80s.
Back when portable computers were things that you needed 2 people to move.
But and we have these little pins that say you have died of dysentery, because that's how 90% of all Oregon Trail games were, like, you died of dysentery.
It was an adventure game.
Yeah, it was a text-based adventure game. And so on Saturday, we had, like, 4 different customers come in and see these pins and be like, at the Toy Box, which is our local
toy
toy store, they have a handheld Oregon Trail game. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, that is so cool. Anyway, so I went and bought it for Lou. And it's
awesome.
It's this lovely boxy. I love even just like this.
The look is very retro.
Yeah.
This was the size of a cell phone.
Oh, that was pretty small
in the
for
80s.
a cell phone.
It's shorter, but it's about the same size. Like, it was a brick, literally.
Yeah, most of the people watching us are old enough to remember that. We have to deal with, like, 18-year-olds who are like, my mom wasn't even born then. Like, shut up.
It's great, though. Like, it's like...
Yeah, this is the power.
Oh, this is the power.
This is the power? Okay.
So...
Really?
Yes, hold it down for 3 seconds. And then let go.
No.
Yes.
I did! Look. Oh, okay. Yes. Oh, God.
So it's literally a text-based adventure. It's like, okay, do you want to be a banker, a construction worker, a farmer? And each one gives you different amounts of cash before you start your journey. And then you head out on your journey, and it's like, okay, you've arrived at this first milestone.
Okay.
Do you want to buy these supplies with your remaining cash? Do you want to save it? Do you want to buy, like, spare, more food or spare parts for your carriage or, like, protective gear?
Okay.
Like,
and it has little... This is fancier than it was, because we did not have color in those days.
Yeah.
Well, we had green.
But it's, like, 16-bit color. Or 16-bit graphics, which is basically a little dot drawing above the text. And you get like 4 options of, do you want to continue? Do you want to rest up? Do you want to try to ford the river? Or do you want to try to like walk around and see? So whatever decision you make affects how much supplies you use up and how tired you are when you try the difficult stuff, and therefore whether you drown or get sick or get attacked by bandits or whatever. Turn off the sound at least if you're going to do that. Anyway,
I was gonna start a game so I could like show them, but then I had to ask for names.
Mine.
It is 1848. Your jumping off place for Oregon is Independence, Missouri. You must decide which month to leave Independence. March, April, May, June, July. Ask for advice.
So, and basically, like, every decision gives you a different outcome possibility. Though. So, like, if you leave too early, you might be...
you might hit spring floods,
not be able to get enough food because you haven't harvested enough yet. But if you leave too late, maybe you don't get to Oregon before the snow hits and you die of exposure.
Dysentery, usually dysentery.
Usually you die of dysentery on the way, long before you die of exposure.
I can buy whatever I need at Matt's General Store. Okay.
But it's a lot of fun. We're not going to do this on the
No, but I just wanted to, it's so cool. Oh, wow. That's a cool reflection. Anyway, so this is what
It's been fun.
I bought
She got it on a last Thursday, and I brought it home after our knit night. So it's our 12 and a half hour work day. And then we come home, and I'm exhausted, and my eyes are tired, and I was trying to focus on this thing, and I was like,
no, not today.
Nope, can't do it. So I got my character set up and read like the first 2 prompts, and it took me 5 tries to read those little 2 lines. And I was like, okay, this is a daytime game, not a nighttime game. But it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
But so.
And
it's
you can't say wee and little and cute.
No, it's oh God, yeah. I grew up with a VIC-20 and one of the first portable computers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was portable, like the big sewing machines that have the handle on the top that
massive,
weigh like 200 pounds. Like,
yeah.
And it had a little 4-inch screen.
But you could put the keyboard into the case and then the front of the case went over the little tiny screen and the 5.5-inch disc drives. Yeah.
See, whereas I got my first computer in college.
Yes, but you got what a broke college was getting rid of.
Yes.
I had a laptop at that point.
Yes, you did. Played a lot of 3D Tetris on that laptop.
Until I got stepped on.
Yeah.
Actually, even after we got... No, you didn't do it.
No, I mean, sorry that it got stepped on. That wasn't me.
And I got it fixed. And anyway.
But 3D Tetris was the best.
Frack.
I love Tetris.
Frack was the best game ever.
Tetris, like, because the whole point to me was getting higher and higher. Like, so the only way you get higher scores efficiently is to only clear lines in 4-line blocks. Like, you fill everything and then you drop the 4-line straight piece down in. It's the only way to do it. It's called a Tetris. That's why you call the game Tetris. Therefore, it's the only right way. Yeah. So you don't ever clear other lines. And so I get really high really fast. And I loved it. And then she had this 3D version of Tetris. Oh my God.
It was pretty fun. It was actually really funny because I found a port of it a couple years back.
The port wasn't good.
Well, it was about the same. It was just like, wow, computer games have come a long way.
Well, but also, I've gotten out of use of using a keyboard to control direct pieces.
Yeah. We just weren't as good as we used to be.
Yeah.
So it sucked.
Because we're getting old.
Yeah. So I think that's everything.
Old as dinosaurs. That's us.
But that's okay because we're cute dinosaurs.
No, I think he's cuter.
These guys, everybody was like, he looks like a dragon. And I was like, well, I could put wings on him. But she does have a dragon pattern too.
Yeah.
Which looks kind of similar, but this is Steggy. Steggy.
Super cute.
I love him. And I love that I just have a source of safety eyes. We sell them at the store.
Yeah.
So whenever I need ones, I'm like, ooh, do we have that size?
We do. Yeah. We do. We always do. Okay, so
we're done. Have a lovely day.
Comment below if you are interested in test knitting some colorwork patterns or sock patterns. Comment on what you're knitting. Share your whips and FOs. And if you haven't listened to it yet, I just found a new podcast that appealed to the geek in me. It's called the Knitistry Nerds. They're two chemistry teachers, and you'll recognize it because they sit with a periodic table of elements behind them.
Of course they do.
And they created a little logo that looks like an entry on the periodic table, and it's KN for Knitistry Nerds.
Yeah.
And they put an atomic weight that's like combining the numbers from the date of their first podcast would have been, and like it's just cute. It's super cute. And they're two ladies from South Carolina, and one's a teacher in her, I'd say, 40s or 50s, and the other is a younger teacher, like maybe in her 20s and 30s, no, probably 30s. So they have different backgrounds in some
unlike
ways,
us. Yeah.
And yet are so similar and so nerdy. And like one of them is a huge football fan, and the other's like, yeah, my husband and her chat football. It's really cute. So they just started, I think, like I caught their 8th episode because Needles at the Ready, the two guys from Connecticut, from Hartford, Connecticut, actually, where Rory and Lorelai were from. No, where Emily and her husband were. Richard. Yeah. Anyway, if you haven't checked it out, it's a fun one. And I'm sure they'll get into more fun as they get more used to doing the podcast. So, and on that note, we're gone because now I won't stop yawning all day.
Okay. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.